Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Faye Bishop Report, where the culture is news. In this episode, we're going to be talking about how the infamous king of black people, our guy Jay-Z, went and did an interview on Letterman to tell us for the 11th time that he has cheated on his wife, our beloved Beyonce Knowles. In this interview, Jay-Z opens up to Letterman and says, and I quote, "Much like you, I have a beautiful wife who was understanding and who knew I'm not the worst of what I've done. We did the hard work of going to therapy. We love each other, so we really put in the work for years. Because of that," Jay-Z continued, "I like to believe we're in a better place today. I'm proud of the father and the husband that I am today." Jay-Z said that he shares his story in case someone watching this who has lost hope in a relationship relates to it and thinks, "Let me stick with this and come out through the other side. I see how that looks." Okay, Jay-Z. Right. I think the better thing to do would have not been cheating on your wife in the first fucking place. Forget the On the Run tour too. Jay-Z is currently on an I Cheated tour. Because if you guys have been paying attention, he has been going to media platform after media platform just to tell everyone the same thing over and over and over again about how he cheated on his wife, what he's learned from it, how they're getting through it, how it made her feel, how she ate Cheetos and Doritos afterwards, how he had to tie his shoe on his own, and blah, fuckity, blah, 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 blah. Don't get me wrong, while I admire Jay-Z's candor and his honesty, I do think it's kind of unfair to Beyonce for him to consistently go on different platforms like this, discussing what happened between them, especially considering that they are obviously past that point now and she's forgiven him. That's why I said this is beginning to look like a tour that he's on to deliberately keep his and her name at the top of pop culture conversation, or if this is him just genuinely going around and just, I don't know, branding himself as some sort of fuck up. Because being a fuck up and a lying, cheating bastard or an asshole to your wife is kind of a thing now, you know? And a lot of these celebrity couples are kind of branding themselves as a power couple behind it. And what a lot of the men are doing is, let me beat the side chick to the punch by coming out and talking about my fuck up first before the side chick does it and ruins my entire life, or whatever the case. It's possible that Beyonce herself has told him to go on this tour to do this. I don't know if it's so he can continue to humiliate himself over and over again, or if it's kind of some sort of gratification for her to hear him apologize repeatedly over and over again. Whatever the case, there seems to be a very shallow, narcissistic energy behind all this that's rubbing me the wrong way. It really sends the wrong kind of message to people, because it kind of says to them that unless someone is being cheated on, being beaten, or mistreated in some form, shape, or fashion in the relationship, we're not doing it right. And that's just not normal. It's not a healthy way we should look at relationships, and it's not the kind of mindset that we should attempt to acquire or see as a relationship goal. This is not the kind of relationship that you should be jealous of or one that you should envy, because the fact of the matter is that being mistreated in any shape, form, or fashion in a relationship is not something that is supposed to happen in order to make it stronger or last longer. Do not let these Jay-Z's and DJ Envys and other celebrities of the world fool you into thinking that this is the way it is supposed to go, because it is not. It's very important for us to understand that it is not normal to live with dysfunction or chaos. Most people don't realize when they're experiencing it because they lack the peace and discernment to know when something is off in the first place. And that's because the dysfunction has manifested itself in so many ways. And we are conditioned to feel that we're supposed to be okay regardless of how much bullshit is going on around us. In every situation, we're just supposed to feel like, okay, we're okay. Regardless of what's going on, I'm going to be all right. You know, that's the kind of stuff we tell ourselves, when the fact of the matter is, it's not normal. And what it does is it manifests itself into like this big bubble, and you're holding it in And as we're walking around holding all of this stuff in and we're suffering pretty much internally, we tend to act out our hurt and our pain in other areas of our lives. We start to act passive aggressively, and we start to take it out on other people or in other areas of our lives, instead of just being honest about what's going on around us and saying and admitting, hey, I'm not happy. I'm not okay with this. I want out. I know we all have come across or know someone, people that are closest to us, that tell us on a regular basis, man, marriage is hard, man. Man, marriage is hard. Or they'll say, no relationship is perfect. Again, that's how socially conditioned we are to believe that dysfunction is normal, supposed to be normal in relationships. That we are supposed to suffer and that it's okay to suffer in a relationship when we're clearly not happy and we are being drained of everything we are mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and socially. There is no universal law written in any book that says that marriage is supposed to be hard. God never said out of his mouth that we are supposed to suffer in any relationship and be unhappy just because. I've noticed one of the hardest pills we have a hard time swallowing is the fact that some people out here, men and women, are just not marriage material. They're not relationship material either. And what happens is they get in relationships and then somewhere down the line, their true natures get exposed and the real person shows up. And we start to see that unicorns really have dark hearts full of hate and snark. And we don't know how to deal with it because we don't understand it. This is not to say that this is the case for everybody, even Jay-Z. I'm just saying that this is a reality that we have to learn how to accept versus normalizing and swallowing dysfunction and making it our sole function just because we want to be with somebody so badly. I think we should also keep in mind that Jay-Z has been Beyonce's only adult relationship that we know of. If I can recall, they started dating when she was like 19 or 20 years old, maybe 21. I'm positive she was 19 or 20. And she left straight from her parents' house and went right with him. Her only other relationship is the one she had when she was a teenager. So that also plays a role in the functioning of their relationship as well, because he's all she knows. And oftentimes we remain with people not necessarily because they're good for us, but because they represent familiarity and a comfort. And we don't leave it because, again, it's all we know. Not saying that that's the case here for Beyonce and Jay-Z, but it does play a role in why a lot of couples tend to stick it out longer than they should. I'm no relationship expert, but one of the things that I believe we have to stop doing is normalizing the dysfunction in relationships and listening to these celebrities who don't know their own asses from a hole in the ground and copying what it is they do. Far too often, we chalk up this type of dysfunction to being loyal and ride or die and, saying that it's all a part of the struggle, when the fact of the matter is that we're not really stopping to even see if the person we're with is capable of reciprocating what it is we're willing to give. You can't commit to the idea or the potential of a person. That's not a relationship. That's not a healthy relationship either. And it's not a good foundation to build a relationship on. Oftentimes, people never live up to their potential because they lack self-awareness. And the biggest key to self-awareness is being honest about who you are and what you are. And if someone doesn't know themselves and isn't honest with themselves, then they can't truly ever get to know you or ever be honest with you. When you are transparent and honest with yourself, then you are able to be vulnerable and transparent with other people. And where there is truth and transparency, there is no room for dysfunction. Light and darkness can't dwell in the same place. Always remember that. I have said this before and I'll repeat it again. I personally, through my personal experience, do not see rappers, street dudes, dope dealers, and hustlers and, drunken rock stars alike as marriage material, but whatever. I wish Jay-Z all the best. I hope that he is being honest at this point and that he wants to change and be the best father and husband that he could be. But In my opinion, this type of dysfunction is not something that we should be normalizing. It's not definitely not something that we should be copying out here or envying. There are plenty of men out here that honor their relationship commitments. They love their wives. They don't cheat on them. They don't ruin the trust. They don't ruin emotional connection, and they live good lives. And those are the types of relationships that we should be acknowledging just a little bit more than this type of shit. This type of shit really isn't cool at all. It's not something that he deserves any respect for. It's not something that is cute. It's not something that is okay. Stop glorifying dysfunctional behavior in relationships. Stop glorifying assholes who mistreat their women. And most importantly, stop sitting here and saying to yourself, there's potential there because they're working it out. While that may be good, the better route to go is to behave in a way that you don't have to be sorry for later on. Being in love means never having to say, I'm sorry. I'm sure you guys have all heard that before. So let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about this I've cheated tour that Jay-Z is on. Leave a comment, share, like. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will get at you guys later.